have an immense backlog of games. The biggest backlog I have would be the games I never got to play as a kid. These pocketable games would be like the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, PS1, PSP, Nintendo DS, 3DS. Since I'm older now, the best way for me to play these games would be with a device that's always on me. That device would be the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Portable gaming has been tough. You would always have to carry around some big handheld, like the Steam Deck or the Nintendo Switch. But I always wanted to get some gaming done without carrying around so many extra devices, like my phone with the Steam Deck, or like my phone with like the Iron Odin 2. And because the past couple of years I've been traveling with the Steam Deck or traveling with the Switch, I feel like I should always be able to game on my phone because it's always on me. And besides doing other productive things, sometimes I just want to take a step back and finish my endless backlog of games. On the plus side, the price is amazing. You just need your phone. So this one is specifically for iPhone. Since emulation on the iPhone was hard before, let's start with one of my favorite emulators, RetroArch. It's been a couple weeks now. Apple allowed RetroArch and a couple other emulators to be on the App Store. And because of that, pairing it with a controller like the Backbone, now I can catch up on all those games I never finished. If you do have a Backbone controller or some sort of controller, I recommend plugging that in first. All you would need is to first download RetroArch from your App Store. So to get your RetroArch to look like mine, you go into your settings and then you go into drivers. Once you go into drivers, you're going to change the menu from yours would be GLUI, changing it to XMB. So after you select XMB, you would shut off RetroArch, and then you would go into your files and make sure you move all your ROMs into the RetroArch folder. So after you open up the RetroArch folder, make sure you create a new folder. I call it ROMs, and then you would put the subfolders of each of your emulators ROMs in it. So I have all my PSP games in here, all SNES, N64, PS1, GameCube, Game Boy Color, NDS, GBA, and GB. Now after that, you would open up RetroArch, and after you open up RetroArch, you would go into settings, user interface, on-screen overlay, and then hide overlay when controller is connected. This just means that whenever you have a controller connected and you start playing the game, those transparent buttons wouldn't be there anymore. Next, we can start adding our cores. So you just go into scan directory, and then you would scan each folder. For example, let's do Game Boy Advance. I would hit scan this directory. Once I hit scan this directory and I go back, it will pop up right here, Game Boy Advance. And then we'll have all my ROMs here along with the album box covers. And then you can just, hit into any game. Let's go this one. And then I would go into MGBA as our core, and I'll hit run. Now if all that is too much, like going through settings and changing all those, and the only emulation you're actually looking for is like NES, N64, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and NDS, there is another app that you can use that is much easier. All you have to do is just download that app. That app is called Delta. So after you have the Delta app downloaded, you open up the Delta app. I already have my games here, but you would just hit plus, files, and you would select the folder where you put all your ROMs. And once you do that, let's say for example Game Boy Advance, and just tap and select all, and then I'll hit open. Once I hit open, Delta will automatically sort your games by emulators. So for example, here is all my Game Boy Advance games, here are all my DS games, N64, GBC, etc. Keep in mind that when you're playing your NDS games, it will ask you for your BIOS. So when you try starting a game for NDS, it's going to prompt that you're missing some files. Pop-up's gonna open up and you just hit import files. After you hit import files, just direct it to where your BIOS is and you should be able to play all your NDS games like Pokemon Explorer. So whether you use Delta or RetroArch, they're both great alternatives for emulation on the iPhone. Personally, I think it's great to have these retro games in your pocket. In a way, it's a quick tackle on my backlog. I can always finish it wherever I am as long as I have my phone on me. Thanks for staying and watching till the end. Follow me on these social media platforms just to see what I'm up to. I do like to incorporate climbing into the channel more than I did before. We'll see how it goes. The best way for you guys to help this channel out is just subscribe right here and now. Please share this video to anyone that you know would like to play retro games on their iPhone. And again, thank you very much.